it's important like how we know how to heal which part of the brain that actually helps us to cope with emotions. And you see, emotions are very important because once you know how to handle them right in the right manner, it will not affect our body, because our body is very precious to us, right? It's very important to us because it helps us to function daily, right? We have to go to work, we have to run the family, we have to do so many things with our body. But when our mind is not in control, when our mind is like running all over the place, right? And our emotions are just bursting out unnecessarily and we do not know how to calm it, then all these will affect our organs in our body. And when the organs get affected, then we cannot function as what we can function in an optimal level, right? And that's what we're going to look at, how we can actually tame the mind, okay, control the emotions, or to let the emotions out, and how we can actually manage the emotions, and that will work positively for our body as well. Okay, so it's a kind of like a intense topic today, but let's see how it goes. Yeah, okay. The objective of today's topic is right how the brain is affected by emotions, right? And which part of the brain plays the crucial roles, and why is it difficult to let go of negative comments, and understanding our emotions and health. So these are the important topic of the day. So we are going to look at this. This is the objective of today's session. So we're going to handle one by one, right? Okay. Now, why is the brain bad at letting go of negative comments? Right? I'm sure every one of us would have gone through this. We would have like, people are people, right? You can't make everyone happy. I remember yesterday our school receptionist was, whenever we leave school, we always will tap to exit and all that. So it blocks our time, like when we leave and when we come and all that. So I remember the receptionist was telling, um, you know, she did something. She just said something like, oh, it's so difficult to make everybody happy. I said, yeah, obviously it's very difficult. You may do something good, but one person may like it, but another person might look at it at a different view and may not like it, right? And here we must clearly understand we are not here to make everyone happy. We have to accept that people are people. No matter what you do, there will be someone who's always not happy with something or the other. Okay, and we cannot be caught up or emotional by everyone's comments and all that. Then you cannot lead your life, right? So it's very important. So no matter how many people say nice things, it's the negative comments that really sticks onto us, isn't it? Right? I'm sure many of us would have actually gone through that, isn't it? But with PVH, we've understood life a bit more better and we know how to manage it somehow better. But how many of you agree, right? Whenever, like, when someone says something nice, yeah, we 100 people would have said something nice, but maybe two or three people would have said something bad. But we stick on to that negative comments. Yeah. How many of you agree with that? Yeah, hello?
Yes,
Anyone?
very true, Chitra.
Yeah, it is, right? Because sometimes we also wonder, hey, why do we do that? So we all used to wonder, right? Let me just see, whether yeah, my volume is max. Okay, right? Yeah, it's true, right? So sometimes you wonder why those negative thoughts bring down our mood and make us feel worse. Where other people would have said something nice, but why didn't we stick to the nice things? But why do we hang on to the negative things? That one negative comment can outweigh a huge number of positive feedback or a huge number of people praising you, right? So the brain can struggle to let go of negative comments due to, sometimes we're just like, want something, we want everyone to think nice of us, right? So sometimes this is one of the reason why we hang on to the negative comments more strongly, right? And do remember our brain, right? We have different parts of the brain, and this part of the brain, amygdala, it's our fear center. We are fearful of losing people. We are fearful of what people will say. We are fearful of what others will think about. So this amygdala here is the fear center, which sometimes, if we don't know how to manage it, it can actually take a large control of our lives. Okay, and the limbic system, the whole entire thing, this whole thing, our limbic system is a threat system sometimes, right? And we have actually an amazing wand that actually can help us to heal these parts. That's the beauty of PVH, right? Once we understand how the brain functions, how we can actually tame our emotions, how we can actually, calm our mind and use the PVH protocols to heal, you will be, you will see the difference, right? So that's what we're going to look at today as well, right? Because the limbic system, this whole limbic system, it's a threat system and plays a crucial role in survival instinct. We want to survive, and it plays on the survival instincts. At the same time, also on the emotional responses, right? So when the amygdala here, right, it detects a threat, like you find something is threatening, it triggers a series of response, including the fight or flight, or sometimes even freeze. Right? So fight means, okay, if like for an example, like suddenly you are so angry. Maybe imagine you are in the road. Okay, imagine you are in the road and someone cut your lane or suddenly did something or pointed a middle finger or something like that. Okay, normally we will just like, who cares, just go off, right? But some people have got this animal instinct in them that they just want to charge. Like they stop the car and they have a road rage. How dare you, you point your finger or they start a fight, right? And that's when your amygdala is working, like, at the wrong time, at the wrong, sometimes, we do not know how to control certain emotions, right? And that comes out. It's like an animal instinct when we don't think, we just react, right? And then a fight triggers off. Okay, something could have been just amicably, just it could have just gone off, but no, we created something, a problem there, right? It happens at times. Now, flight. If you see someone who's threatening like that, you won't stop. You just go. That is your flight. You're running away, which is also good sometimes to avoid unnecessary situations, or you just go off, right? Sometimes people are frozen. They just freeze. They do not know how to react, right? And when they do not know how to react, they just stay frozen and they're like thinking, what should I do next? So the time period to think could be an advantage or could be a disadvantage depending on the situation, right? So that is why the limbic system plays an important role in our brain to help us manage emotions, right? So that's how negative comments can activate the amygdala and the limbic system, leading to a stronger emotional response and making those memories more vivid and difficult to forget. You see, some memories are so easy to just forget, right? Like someone didn't open the door for you. After a while, you just couldn't be bothered, right? You just open the door and just go. But there's some that could be so vivid, like someone who scolded you, but it was an accusation. It wasn't your fault, but you got accused for something, and that holds a memory, which is more difficult to forget, right? Like children, right? Like I remember just recently, one of the somebody scolded the child in P1, but the child is in P5 now, can still remember. That means the child on P1 was 7 years old, and he can still remember that the teacher scolded him at 11 years old. I was like, huh? Okay, but you see, how strong some parts that can actually is difficult to forget. So all of us are like that. There's some emotions that are stronger that we hold close to the heart, and there's some that we just brush it off like, you've already forgotten about it. It all depends on the importance of what we think and all that. Yeah, everyone's okay. Now, sometimes a part of ours, like grief and all that, it's kind of difficult to forget, right? Because a loved one is lost. It becomes very difficult to forget, right? So these are the times when your limbic system plays an important role. Now, we also have done this before, a topic on limbic system, the part of the brain totally, right? We always say limbic system of the brain is the emotional brain, right? It's the very emotional part of the brain. When one holds anger, like anger and resentment, the limbic system of the brain gets affected. Okay, so that's when we also spoke about, by choosing to forgive, one can transform the brain wave, paving the new way, a pathway for healing. But if you keep on holding to it, okay, you are actually not going to heal from that process. At the same time, you are bringing your own, affecting your own organs and cells, drastically. Okay, that's when we also spoke about glial cells that are like a vacuum cleaners. It comes out in the night when you're sleeping. Okay, when you've read your forgiveness affirmation, right, and you go to sleep with the learning in the sleep, and the glial cells comes out like a vacuum cleaner in the body to clean up all the thorns of anger. This is only possible if you have decided to forgive and forget, right? But if you're still holding on to the anger, then it doesn't happen, right? So every night when we sleep, when we read our affirmations and we ask for forgiveness and all that, we want to forget about whatever that's happened. So we burn and blaze away and throw it out of our system, right? So that the glial cells come in nicely and vacuum all the unwanted anger, resentment, and hurt, right? And when one chooses to forgive, the body starts healing automatically. Interesting, isn't it? Right? So, see, who's in charge of this body? Who is in charge of this body? We ourselves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We are
Yes, we
stuck.
ourselves, right? It's not
Yeah.
it's not Sir, it's not Mr. Siva who's in charge of our body, right? It's us. This is our body and we choose to forgive. And when we choose to forgive, we heal in the process, right? Sir can only guide us, right? But we have to take the step in following the teachings and learning to forgive and forget. Of course, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's so easy to just let go of some things, especially when it depends on the gravity of that problem or, things like that. But again, when you choose to forgive, it's for our own healing for it to take place. All right? Now, we're going to look at amygdala. So, we're going to look at the different parts of the brain, right? So, remember, the brain is like a control center of our emotions. That's a very important point to take note. The brain is like the control center of our emotions, okay, helping us to feel, react, and remember how we experience life, right? So, at the heart of this process itself, right, which is the whole thing is controlled by the limbic system, okay, which includes the amygdala. Okay, and then it also goes on to include hypothalamus, your hippocampus, the three main areas that plays a vital role in how we respond to emotions around us and towards the world and all that, right? So, amygdala, what is this amygdala, right? So amygdala is the part of the brain that helps us feel scared, right? When we are scared, this one again, it depends on the individual person. Not everyone's fear is the same level. Some people are more scared of things naturally. Some are more braver, right? So the amygdala is actually very strong in that sense, right? Because they don't get scared so easily. A simple thing like a cockroach. I'm also scared of cockroach if it flies. But the thing is, a simple thing is a cockroach, right? So when a cockroach, if someone who sees it may scream their lungs out, right? And their heart could be actually palpitating very fast because it's a fear that actually sends certain trigger into the body system to react to what the person has seen, the cockroach, right? But someone else who saw the cockroach will just brush it off and say that, okay, yeah, it's a cockroach, okay, they take a spray and they just spray it, and then it's okay, it's dead, right? So again, how we react to certain things, it depends on individual, right? So it's the same thing. The part of this brain that helps us feel scared when we are in danger or joyful when we are with our loved ones. So this part of the brain, the amygdala, is our emotion detector. Okay, and most of the time it plays a crucial role in fear factor. Okay, and all that. That's amygdala. Okay, now hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is very important because when we heal for our hormones, we heal our pituitary gland, we heal our hypothalamus, thalamus, and all that. So these are all important. They also help to produce and our hormones and all that, right? So here, the hypothalamus is a brain command center for emotions and physical reactions. It tells the body how to react when emotions are triggered, scared, or excited, right? It controls our heart rate, stress hormones, fight or flight again, hypothalamus, right? So remember, hypothalamus also helps in the endocrine system and all that. Okay, now we have hippocampus, which is very important because this is our memory keeper. Hippocampus is very important. Every one of us got a hippocampus. As we age, the hippocampus tend to shrink. By doing certain activities, it goes back to the original size. Okay, we can actually look after our hippocampus. And one way is, of course, healing with the wand. But the other way is also to dance, go for physical activity, not aggressive one, but dance. And then dancing helps because the thing is, it helps you to remember the steps, and just let it out, the emotions and all that. So hippocampus actually, it expands, right? If not, as we age, hippocampus tend to shrink. So the brain's memory keeper is the hippocampus. So hippocampus stores memory, allowing us to recognize similar situations in the future and respond appropriately. Okay, so if you had a bad experience, this hippocampus will bring out that one, that part of the drawer. It will open up and then take out that part of the bad memory and say, hey, and the connections will be made. And then we will, oh yeah, I had this bad experience and I'm connecting it to it and I'm worried that it will happen again. Okay, that's how the brain makes the connections, right? So that's how this works. Now, so together, right, all these areas, the amygdala, hypothalamus, and hippocampus, they work together continuously to help us feel, react, and remember emotions, shaping how we look at things and all that. So remember, right? So how the brain is affected by the emotion, right? Remember, we always know emotions have a big effect on our brain and how it works, shaping the way we see things, focus on them, and even learn from the experience, right? But when we have strong emotions, they can change the way we look, think, and process. Okay, that's why when one person, same situation, right, but different times, people can react differently, right? Say for an example, like a person is always very happy and jovial. So someone plays a prank on that, the person is just going to laugh about it. Hey, yeah, it's so funny, and all that. But if you caught that person at the wrong time, at the wrong mood, and that person may, even though you did the same thing, the person will react differently because the time of that mood was different. The person may have something that have happened, and this triggered off and created a bigger reaction. You understand what it means? Same thing done at different period of time can be taken differently by the same person at different times, depending on the mood, depending on the time, or depending on the situation that what has triggered or happened. Right? So strong emotions can make us more sensitive to certain situation, leading us to notice things we might normally ignore. Okay, so again, perception is very important. For example, when we are angry or scared, we might see things as more threatening than they actually are. So strong emotions can make us more sensitive to a certain situation, right? And our reactions may be different when we perceive things or look at things differently, right? Everybody's okay with this one? Is it clear? Is it
Yes.
Yes. Yes, Chitra. Clear. Very clear, Chitra. Thank
okay,
you.
okay, thank you. Yeah, if you don't, then let's stop me, yeah, so I can re-explain or something. Because it's all about within us and how we perceive things, how we look at things, and all that.
Chitra, will this be will be sent to us, right? Because I missed taking picture for one only, number 7. Will it be sent to us?
The 7,
Oh,
the hypothalamus.
Is it number 7? This one?
Yeah, this is number 7.
Yeah. Okay. I will take picture first.
Okay,
Thank you very much. I got it ready. Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, attention is very important here, right? When we feel strong emotions, our brain tends to focus more on what triggered those feelings, right? Strong emotions. Then our brain will trigger off to those feeling how to react. This means that when we get excited, anxious, or afraid, we might have a harder time focusing on other things, as our attention is drawn to the source of their emotions. Like my boy was saying yesterday, one of his friend, usually very calm person, but he got the Lee Kuan Yew award, so he was super happy. Of course, my boy was saying he's never felt so happy for someone, like who has received it. So he messaged me saying that, oh, I feel so happy for this his friend. I said, okay, that's good that you feel happy for someone, which is very good and all that. So he didn't feel like, hey, why I didn't get, no, which is good, right? So he was very happy for his friend. But he came back home and he said, but his friend, it has gone too much to the friend's head, and then the friend was very boastful, and I said, never mind, let him enjoy his success. I mean, not everybody gets a Lee Kuan Yew award, and all that. So he said, yeah, that's true, and all. So but sometimes you see, like, that excitement actually goes into someone's head or goes into another level, then it might trigger off other feelings. So people who normally sees this person as a grounded person, as a nice and kind person, may suddenly see, hey, how come this person is now showing off, so boastful, thinks so highly of himself. But you see, the situation has changed. The situation that the person was in and the emotion that the person is going through was excitement. So at that point of time, you can't expect the person to be the same as what he is normally. You understand? So again, whenever something happens, so that's why when people suddenly judge, hey, why is he like this, why is he, sometimes it's good to pause and think, what triggered off that, or what happened, or what caused that, and all that. I mean, I'm not encouraging that behavior. I mean, one should be humble, but then, yeah, children being children, right? They're all young boys. So yeah, so I just have to tell my boy that hey, it's okay. Let him enjoy his success, and it's okay. So today they're meeting up to go. Hey, he was saying, I hope he doesn't boast about it too. I say, don't worry about it. That kind of thing. So depending on the situation, how the person reacts, it's normal, right? So we don't hold sometimes the person for it, but after the person has settled down and all, you can say that that the thing has actually affected me because you didn't behave in the normal way. Like you can share because it's your friend, right? You can share your feelings. It's okay, right? So that is one part. Attention, learning, right? Learning. Emotions play a key role in how we remember things, right? When something makes us feel happy, sad, or scared, we are more likely to remember it because we connect that thing that has happened together. So the emotional connections make the experience stick in our mind very vividly, right? Because of the connections being made. But however, if we are too overwhelmed with emotions, it becomes harder to learn new information because our brain only tends to focus on the emotional response, right? So, but this is normal, right? It happens to all of us. But how we actually become self aware, it's a part of learning and growing up, right? So one can actually become stronger by being more emotionally stable when when you're self-aware, and that's when journaling helps in a lot, right? Something that actually made a happy moment or sad moment or anger or something that or scared that triggered off. If you can't speak to a person whom you can share with, then it's good to journal it down because I'm a writing person, so I will normally write down, like and I have a book that actually what triggered off, how I felt. So when you write it down, when you journal it down, it's actually sort of like that emotion gets suppressed. I mean, not suppressed. You bring it out and you have actually looked at it at a different perspective. And after many months or weeks, when you look back what you have written down, you then, oh yeah, such a trivia matter, and why is it like, you got triggered by it, and you even laugh about it. You see, so it's good to journal it down, right? Because some people don't talk about it. They don't want to share that part of the emotion or that feelings with someone. So when you keep bottling it, or when you are doing, talking within in your own head, the self-talk, then the self-talk will either lead you to self-pity or lead you to negative talk, which is not going to help in any way, right? So either you talk to someone or you write it out somewhere. And after a while, when you look at it, and then you also like, hey, then you think it's funny. It doesn't, like, what we do when we were young, right? So, or maybe when I'm young, I do that a lot, I guess. So I have like a book, when I'm angry or when someone scolded me, like my mom or my brother made me angry or something, I will write it down. And then after that, I will like, many months later, then I even show it sometimes to my mom. See, you scolded me for no reason. It wasn't even my fault. Then she was like, oh, okay. Like, so that kind of thing. But by then it'll be like funny. It's like, hey, yeah, it doesn't seem so serious anymore. But because I chose to write it down, when you pen things down, you are also removing it partially from your mind space, right? The mind is very important. It has got so many things to occupy with positive things, not just with negative things, right? So it's good to just pen it down and then just keep a book, you know, and write off whatever that makes you upset and all that. I even get my students to do that, especially those. It started off like that because I wanted them to be able to write composition because I took a very weak class and they couldn't pen things down. They can give you good points when coming to composition, like when it comes to writing, penning it down, they couldn't in the beginning. Term 1, I was thinking, oh my god. Term 2, I decided, okay, I bought them an exercise book. I say everyone is going to write this. There's no choice. Okay, write down every day whatever happens, good or bad or whatever. Just write it down. Every good or bad or whatever, just write it down. Every morning I'll collect it. During assembly time, I'll collect it. And some of them, well, naturally will come and give me because they're so excited because I do write comments. I do answer their questions, and I also give them a sticker at the end of that whole whatever they've written. I also put a sticker, whatever it is, no. So it became like a communication booklet. Like, sometimes they can't talk to someone. Like something happened at home, or something happened to them, or a friend did something and they couldn't tell anyone. They do not know how to share to anyone. That book was a form of expressing their emotions as well. So when I thought, okay, by term 3, they were all writing very well. So I asked them, hey, exercise book also finished. Do you all want to continue or not? Some of them wanted to continue, right? And then I bought them another book again. I said, okay, those who want to continue, you can continue. And I still will check and answer and all that. So it became a nice way for them to express, because these are like 10-year-olds. Sometimes they do not know how to express it. And the only person who can read this book is me. I mean, they gave me permission to read, of course. Somebody has to check the word, right? And yeah, and then the other is, if they want their friend to read, only when they allow, then their friend can read. If the friend doesn't allow them, then they're not supposed to touch anyone's so-called journal, their own personal journal. So it helped. We went into the even deeper part of, some of them were actually suffering in silence, being abused by a stepfather and all that. I actually read one of it, and I actually brought it up to the principal too, and all that. Principal say, okay, let's take a step and notice and observe before we find any more triggers, and then yeah. So you see, so some things led to something and all that. Okay, so it's good to journal. And there's no age for only little children can journal, or anyone can journal, because it actually helps you to calm your mind down as well. Now, memory. Strong emotions can create lasting memories, as our brains prioritize, like, emotionally charged experiences, right? But if we are under constant stress or experiencing overwhelming emotions, right, for a long time, it can disrupt how we remember things, making it harder to focus or retain new information. Yes, our brain memory can get damaged, right? So along the way, if you constantly have strong emotions that you are not throwing it out of your system, and that same anger, or the same fear, or the same whatever that is going on with the tissue, keep on going through again and again. It's just like taking a pen and writing on that same line, scribbling it. After a while, the paper will tear, right? It's the same thing with our brains as well, right? So our memory, when you have strong emotions that you cannot throw it out of your system, and you keep on making it deeper and deeper and deeper, stronger, and that can actually damage some parts of the hippocampus from able to remember better. That's why dementia is one of them, where people who have constant emotions and very strong emotions that they are not able to throw out of the system, it affects that part of the brain, and slowly it leads on to Alzheimer's or dementia, right? That's why sir always says, very important, throw away your emotions. Read the lady's affirmation, burn and blaze away all the unwanted emotions, do that and all that. So it's important. It's all part. So that being in PVH, it's something that we all should be very grateful to, because we have something readily available, is our brilliant, beautiful affirmations, right? So the affirmations, by reading it, whether you're reading it consciously or subconsciously, it's going deeper. It's making a lot of changes in our brains, right? The way, after a while, when you're reading and reading, you start thinking and looking at it. Hey, yeah, why am I? And what had triggered off before doesn't seem even important anymore, because the constant reading, it changes our subconscious mind to become more forgiving naturally, right? So we have a beautiful affirmations that help us. And when we have the spiritual affirmations, I am light, it even strengthens our aura and the way we look at things as well. So it's very important. So no need to even look for outside affirmations to affirm ourselves. We have internally, we have a beautiful PVH affirmation. When you read it with the wand and all that, or even with the symbol on your ajna, it makes tremendous change. So It's the starting is the thing. Some people may just need to read once. Some people may need to read twice. Some people may need to read more times. It all depends on the individual person and their emotions. The ladies' affirmation sometimes tells, like, some people have more emotions, so they have to read more times. So it again all depends on individual. Not one shoe fits all, one size fits all, right? It's everybody is different, right? Here, chronic stress is the other one. So, chronic stress or long term emotional strain can also mess with our body balances, right? Like prolonged stress. Prolonged stress will create this, unnecessary cortisol, which is not good for the body, right? It's a kind of a trigger that is sent out by a chronic stress that actually damages our, our hormones and all that. Okay, and eventually when the stress is not managed, the cortisol will become too much for the body to even, you know, um, help, right? You can't even get rid of it. And then that's when you have to go and see a therapist or talk to someone, go and get help for counseling and all that, right? So remember, no stress is worth your health. Health is wealth. Until you become sick, right, you will not value the beauty of our health, right? So it's important to manage all this, because it's very, it's our health that we're looking at. So prolonged stress can lead to hormonal changes, right? So the period menstruation gets affected, menopausal gets affected, things, it's automatically, it triggers off certain things, which causes a lot of hormonal changes, affecting the moods, the energy, the ability to cope with everyday situation becomes a chore. What you can do normally easily because of constant chronic stress, which becomes like you become handicapped, like you're not able to manage it. So this can make us more sensitive to things that wouldn't actually bother us normally, right? So you find it harder to relax or focus. So in short, right, emotions are powerful. While they help us to react to the world, strong or constant emotion can cause stress, which can change how we think, learn, and remember things and affect our overall well-being. Okay, that's why we are looking at part 2 of emotions because it's so important. Yeah. Okay, let me get somebody scribbling. Now we're going to look at individual. Okay, the core emotions normally that we always speak about, like anger. Anger, happiness, sad and grief, and fear and all this, right? So we're going to look at these important triggers, right? So understanding emotions and health is very important, right? Have you ever wondered why anger seems to suddenly make your stomach so tight? You're so angry that your stomach is burning, right? Indians always say that, right? Right, right? Like I will say, right? Correct? Yeah. So have you ever wondered why anger seems to knot your stomach? Or why grief makes your chest feel so heavy? Right? So so that's why I put different pictures to show. So have you ever wondered anger seems to knot your stomach? So this the knot and your stomach is triggered because you're so angry here, right? Or even why grief makes your chest feels heavy, right? It's sometimes all these actually cause an emotion, right? Which is kind of anger, feeling heavy, you don't feel like eating, or sometimes stress eating. People have two ways. Either they eat too much or they don't eat, right? Because it's just too much for them to manage and all that. So again, it depends on individual, again, how they have the coping mechanism, right? So emotions are not just fleeting experiences. They influence our health and of course the well-being in ways we may not even recognize. So emotions are connected with our organs, right? So it's very important. Even TCM does this as well, right? Somebody shared one very interesting, I think Vasanthi shared one very interesting article and all that about TCM and all that, right? So emotions are connected with our organs, and when everything is in sync, it's like a beautiful symphony, right? When everything is beautiful, everyone is happy, everything is going well, we are all in a symphony. But all you need is some disharmony or chaos, some chaotic thing that happens or whatever, immediately it throws everything out of balance, isn't it? Right? So that's emotions, right? So it's important how we cope. Like for an example, anger. Let me get my we go there. Yeah, which organs are affected by the emotions? So if you look at this, so different parts of our body, our organs are affected by the emotions. For an example, the brain. When you get too stressed, you can't think properly. Something that is so simple that you can manage it earlier, but because you're so stressed, you look at it, everything is so difficult, right? And that's when it's important to take a break, go for a walk, or go for a run, or take just a break, go and eat something, or just get out of that work or that place, and then come back to it again. You will see that your whole energy would have changed, and you can look at things much more better, right? I think this is very important. I don't know, as a student, when I was studying, when I get too stressed, I need to go for a walk, or I need to go for a run, or I need to just go, yeah, somewhere to just break away from that momentum that I was doing, to go back to something else, and then after that come back to it. Oh, I can think better, I can do better. It also does with my marking. Now, after a while, I see the same. Oh, I will get headache. I cannot mark anymore. I feel like, wow, my the first I was marking very well. Then after seeing a handwriting that I cannot even read, then actually sort of like waste a lot of my time looking at it, trying to figure out what is it. So that affects my mode of marking. So I need to take a break. So I'll just, so I always will put all the horrible handwriting all at the end. So I mark all the nice ones, and the ones that make sense I'll mark all first, so that everything gets finished quickly. And those few that I cannot, then I will do it later. So it helps me to also be kinder to the child also. If I keep on looking at something that I cannot manage or do, then I'll become more angry. I wouldn't be able to be, fair, right? So I always will take a break when it comes to this, right? Frustrations, very important, right? So when you're frustrated, it again affects your head, right? Tension, your neck, your shoulder, your spine, then you feel like, wow, your muscles are tense. You feel that you cannot stretch because, that kind of thing. So that's tension, right? Mistrust, you don't trust someone. That affects your thyroid, right? Now, stress or fright, suddenly you get so stressed or so scared, your heart is affected, right? Then when grief or fear, lungs, right? So you cannot breathe properly, you feel like breathless, and then after that, you feel like your immunity goes down. All this is to do with grief and fear. Anxiety naturally affects the gut, which is the digestive system, right? Sometimes you got IBS, right? Irritable bowel syndrome. That's also one of the cause and because of anxiety, it leads to IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Sometimes irritable bowel syndrome can be a form of constipation, which is also because of stress, which is anxiety, or it could also lead to diarrhea, which is also anxiety. It depends on what is triggered off, whether it's diarrhea or it's constipation, right? So it's important to know. See, when we know our organs and what affects us, we can take better charge of our own health, right? So now, when someone is in rage, very very angry, until you cannot see, you just see fire only, right? Then jealousy, all these will affect your liver, and it's not worth it, yeah. Your poor liver is doing so much. It's cleaning up your whole entire whatever that you are eating and processing everything, and then it doesn't need that extra toll of your emotion put in to further make it overwork until it cannot function. All right, so that's why it's important to manage stress, right? So fight or flight. Okay, fight or flight. This affects your adrenal glands, right? And then your anger, gallbladder, right? So gallbladder issues, anger, because it's so angry that it triggers off these fragile organs there. And then after that, when you're feeling guilty, and one time, two time you feel guilty is okay, but if you feel constantly guilty or something, it affects your spleen. Worry also affects your spleen. When someone is overthinking, over worried, your spleen is one gland that will get affected very easily. And when the spleen doesn't function well, then the whole entire life force is also affected, yeah. Okay, kidneys, when you have constant fear or shock, it affects our wonderful kidneys. Our kidneys does so much for us to throw away unwanted, things from the body, to throw it out of the system, and we need our kidneys until the end of this lifetime. So any fear and shock triggers off this, and it damages it further, and all that. So this is one that is actually explains like what it says here, right? So today we're going to focus on sadness, grief, anger, fear, joy and worry. Then you'll be wondering why joy is what a problem. Let's find out, okay? Let's find out. All right. So 5 key emotionals we are going to look at can cause imbalance and impact on our physical health. Right. So only five these key emotions that can cause is either we manage it or it controls us. Okay. Now let's look at the first one, anger. All right. So time and again, everyone do get angry. We are human, right? We can't say that, oh, no, we won't get angry with harm and all that. You have to sometimes, right? And sometimes being angry is also good because the other person also learns a lesson, right? Every time you say so kindly, nothing get triggered, doesn't ring a bell. One day you raise the voice, tongue, it gets right. My students are very good at that also, right? You say nicely, I'm a very kind teacher. They also know. But if I shout, they know already, oh, they push my wrong button already, and they pushed it too far. That's all. So they know, okay, don't mess anymore. Sit down, do your work, right? So they themselves will know this because I don't like to scream and shout unnecessarily, right? But if sometimes saying too many times too nicely, it doesn't work. Sometimes you have to, unfortunately, press the button. So it also affects my health when I get angry, isn't it? But yeah, so but anyway, you have no choice sometimes. Yeah. So the organ that gets affected is the liver, which is here, right? So the effects is that the anger can actually harm the liver, causing the life force to be affected to become unbalanced. And then this can create tension, frustrations, headaches, dizziness, and hypertension, high blood pressure. Right? So everything is actually connected. One thing that triggered the anger affects the liver, and the side effects of that, it suddenly, wow, got tension, headache. The headache is so bad. The kind, right? And then suddenly you feel dizzy or you feel so frustrated. So over time, when you don't manage your anger, right? If someone is always getting angry every single minute, every single day, every single time, this will lead to liver damage, affecting the detoxification. Toxification cannot detoxify food or detoxify whatever that is there, and digestion. It affects them, right? So, which leads to your high blood pressure, migraines, digestion problems, menstruation problems, even, or period irregularity. Everything triggers off. Hey, somebody's happily scribbling on my slides here. Yeah, so remember, anger and liver are connected. Okay, and it's important because our life force is very important. The air we take in, the thing that is circulated in our body, it's very important because it's keeping us alive, right? So it's very crucial and it's for our own well-being. So it's important that we manage. If someone triggers you, someone makes you angry all the time, move away from that situation, move away from that person, just go and then calm down and then come back. There's no point shouting and, causing everything to come out. Sometimes it's like, it affects that's why people get suddenly heart attacks and things like this. Constant, all this will actually trigger off and all. So it's important to manage. Okay, the other one is heart. Okay, heart is very important. It's an organ that we all have to be super duper grateful because from the time we are formed in our mother's womb, okay, as a small sesame seed, right? A small sesame seed, we were only that small and we have grown to this big, right? The heart has been pumping since the day one when we were in our mother's womb. Not even a day that is taken a break to rest. If it rests, we are dead, right? So it's a very important organ. We must treasure and show a lot of gratitude to our heart. So it's important that what we do, it's triggers. See, of course, sometimes some anger makes us very angry, right? They also causes palpitation in the heart. But overly happy is also sometimes kind of dangerous. Funny, huh? Everybody say happy, we laugh, But the thing is, there's certain amount, you know. Even though joy is very important, right? Something to be happy is very important, but excessive happiness or over excitement can overstimulate your heart. Okay, which can cause damage to some people or most people. It depends on the condition of the heart. If someone has got a weak heart, right? So the doctor will say, right, oh, don't give the person too much of a good news. Don't give the person, bad news, that kind of thing, right? So, these people, they need to have manageable information. Don't overexcite them, right? Because then their heart may, become restless or palpitate too much or even create anxiety and all that, or maybe even restlessness, cannot sit still, or they become like so restless and all that. Yeah, so it's important. Though joy is good, but over excitement can overstimulate the heart, which is not good. Okay, guys, understand, right? Like, I mean, I'm not saying be sad, but what I'm saying is being too happy, overly excited, can actually cause damage to the heart too. Okay, anybody disagree? Not?
Hi, Chitra. Do you know, Chitra, never been to joyful state. Normal only.
Normal is already very good. Some people are not even there.
Oh, Chitra,
Yes,
everything in the extreme is harmful.
exactly. Correct. In Tamil, they will say, அளவுக்கு மிஞ்சினால் அமுதமும் நஞ்சு.
Yes, very
Correct?
true.
Everything
Yes,
has to be balanced. Anything over the limit will cause damage. Right? So it's important how we balance. Right? So, yeah. Okay, so remember, yeah. So overjoy, yeah. Okay. Now, grief. Right? Grief is something that we sometimes cannot control. Right? A sudden loss of someone, something that actually cause so much of sadness that it depends on the um, individual person as well. The capacity of the grief, how much they can take. It also depends on individual. One person may be able to take it more than, but someone else may not. Right? So it again depends. I remember last year when I was in the other school, one of my colleague lost her son. Right? She's in her 60s, but she lost a son who's in 30s. Right? It was very sad because very young, promising young man and very good-looking young man. Even though not in PVH, but very PVH kind of person, because I saw his request of his funeral, I was very surprised. Like, he didn't want anyone to bring unnecessary things to waste Mother Earth's resources, don't waste Mother Earth's item. I was like, wow, who is this person? Like, when I saw that request when it was sent in our teachers group, yeah, so we were like, wow. And yeah, and it was very sad, we felt I just feel that no parent must go through this, right? Because everyone want their child to be like, strong and healthy and all that, right? But this colleague of mine took so well. I mean, of course there were grief, but she was mentally prepared because he was sick, right? He was unwell, and she was mentally prepared. And even no matter how mentally prepared you are, there will be definitely grief. It's your child, right? And the thing was, she took a month off from school. And the moment she came, we all were there to support her, to cheer her up. We brought food, this, that, and all that. So she said, "What? It's better being in school than at home because." But she had to take the 1 month off because her other son, the second son, took it so badly because their age difference is not much, and they were very close as siblings. So he took the grief really badly. Until he didn't go to work, he was stuck in the room. So both the parents had to take leave to make sure that they spend time with the boy. You see, two parents, right? They were able to manage the grief. The other person, the son, could not manage the grief. All in the same house. See, individual people balance an individual way of looking at things are different always. You cannot compare one person to another, right? So how we manage grief and how we look at things are very different. Okay, so we cannot be judgmental and say, "Hey, small matter, why you so upset?" We cannot say that because everyone is different. Everyone process things differently. So we can be empathetic and give them space to overcome certain grief and all that. But just be a support system there. Yeah. So the effects on grief, it can be like have a great impact on the lungs, right? Because it can weaken the lungs and the immune system, right? So it actually depletes the lungs' energy. So the lungs' job is to pump air, and the air has to go through the whole entire human body, from all the way. It's sending the taking in the oxygen and transporting it right to the feet, back, pushing it up to the heart and out of the system. So it does a lot of work.
The watermelon very nice. So the melon, winter melon.
Okay, thank you. I don't want any winter melon. Right? So yes. So then it's very important important that we are closely connected, because the thing is, like, we understand our own organs, so we can make sure that we don't cause further damage to it. So the lungs are closely connected to the body's immune system, and this can be weakened. So the lungs are closely connected to the body's immune system, and this can be weakened because of our immune defense. We have our white blood cells, we have our platelets, we have all these important parts in our system that actually helps to prevent germs and bacteria from coming in. But if we are feeling grief, we are feeling too sad, it shuts our immune system. Then the immune system that is able to fight back, right, is not at its optimal level or at the peak. Okay, making the body prone to illness and then catching frequent colds, shortness of breath, and affecting and causing fatigue and all that. Sometimes even cannot think straight. All this, right? So it's important to understand how our lungs actually need us to be also stable in order for it to do its job. Now, overthinking and worry, right? Overthinking and worry is also very, very something that some people are very good at doing it. They overthink for everything and they worry about everything, right? So even in little children, no, they worry about everything. Anxiety attack they have, So I had one student when I used to teach tuition. He's got this anxiety attack. When he sees mad sounds, he becomes so anxious. The tap water will come out, which is his eyes. He will start crying, tearing automatically when he cannot understand what the question is asking him to do. He will start crying. Okay, it's an immediate effect. It took me a year to get him over that, until that was when I taught him at 9 years old. By the time he hit 10, we came up with a deal. If every time you're going to cry, then it's not going to help, because it shuts down the brain, right? It doesn't help you to think anymore because you are in the panic mode, and then you cannot do anything, right? So say we have to come out of this, then say, okay, let's work it out. This whole entire month, if you don't cry, you will get something from me. And he likes cats, so I bought him a nice soft toy because he didn't cry at all. So that part of the time when we started, until when he reached P6, which is 12 years old, he doesn't cry. He looks at a problem, he knows, okay. But he's a worrier. He's a natural worrier. He worries for everything. If I don't come on time, if I'm 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late, he worries, will this affect his dinner? I'm like, hello, only 10 minutes. I mean, sometimes I'm delayed because of the bus, or if I leave my school late, so I have to get to his house. His house is not near my school. It's quite far away. So I will already tell the grandmother, okay, I'm on my way, I'll be a little bit late. But he will get worried. Oh no, my dinner is going to be late. He's actually high functioning autistic. So autistic children like to follow things according to time. They don't like changes, right? So because of that, I also understand. So I try my best to to be there on time anyway. But yeah, so there's some people who excessively worry and overthink, which affects the spleen. When the mind is constantly worried, it weakens the spleen function, right? And the spleen is very important, because if it gets damaged, right, then the spleen's ability is to transform and transport food and fluid around the body. So it can lead to digestive issues, muscle tensions, weaken the ability to process the nutrients from the body and all that. So, and will lead to poor digestion. Okay, and also even to weight gain or weight loss and muscle fatigue, muscle feeling tired, cannot move so much. That's why we heal the spleen chakra, isn't it? Okay, and decrease the energy level. Again, we heal the spleen chakra, right? But remember, sir recently told us in the Singapore workshop, healing the spleen chakra is good, but be careful, because you have to sense the person to ensure that the person doesn't have any negative energy, right? Doesn't have any cords or doesn't have any souls attached or things like that before you go and heal the spleen chakra. Okay, so it's important to, that's why sensing is very important. Must check before you go and heal the spleen chakra, right? And all. So something new I also learned. Yeah, so it's important there. So spleen is very important because it gives you energy and it also keeps you healthy, right? As in, like, it helps to transport your nutrients and all that. So if your spleen is affected, if it's not doing its function, then it weakens your entire digestive system and all that, causing bloating, fatigue, decreased energy level, build up of fluids in the body. That's when your leg gets swelled up, and certain part of the organs or the body is swelled. It's all because of unnecessary worry and overthinking, right? Then you have another one, which is fear. Okay, so fear, like you're scared of something, you're scared of someone, or you're just scared of someone shouting or screaming, right? So can be any form of fear, right? So fear is believed to deplete the kidneys. So kidneys are very important because they are our vital and longevity for our health and our body, right? If you want to live a long, healthy life, kidneys are so important for us, right? Kidneys are associated with both physical and emotional health. So either physically affected or emotionally affected, it has side effects on the kidneys. So when fear is excessive, it actually affects the adrenal glands, right? Which is your fear and flight, your fight and your fright mode, right? So this can also affect your growth and development, right? And also metabolism, right? And reproduction, reproductive organs all get affected and all that. And it also leads to lower back pain, anxiety, fatigue, chronic fatigue, okay? Not little fatigue. Everyone can be fatigued sometimes if you didn't have enough sleep or you're just overworked and all that. A little rest or some rest will do you good, right? But chronic fatigue is different. Even you have rested, you still feel tired, right? So that is like something is not right, isn't it? Okay, and urinary issues and all that. So you see again, so all these emotions that can trigger off to affect our vital organs, which is very important for our functioning of our body and all that. Yeah, and I found this. I thought was interesting. See, emotions are manifesting in pain. When you have emotions and you manifest it into pain. So they've put this drawing. I found it in the Google, somewhere. And I thought, interesting. The lungs, loss of hope, then the lungs are affected. Ears, wanting to be heard, but then no one is there to talk to. Mid back pain, like you feel guilty, shame, and all that. You find you have pain in your mid back. Constipation, or diarrhea, and all these form of rejection, which affects your gut, right? Impaired by then the other one is the eyes, confusion. You are anxious and you don't trust someone, or you have been cheated by someone and all that. It causes mistrust, so you can't see things properly, right? Your jaw, tension and anger. When you feel upset over something, it can actually lock up your jaw, right? Heart, where joy and love are very important, right? Because that's where you feel the love. But again, overjoy, best be careful. Okay, numb hands, lack of control. So lack of control, you feel your arms are numb. Okay, gut, basically everything, right? Because gut and brain are connected. So what happens in the gut, it connects to the brain. We did one topic like this on Zoom before, how the gut and brain exist and all that, right? So the hands and problems letting go. So when your problems letting go, your hands feels numb, your hands feels very clammy and all that. So fear, letting out unwanted gas, like farting. And then worry about the future, something that is unstable, your legs feels weak and numb and all that. Feet, fear, no failure to connect or feel you have lost something, not grounded. And all this is actually by Louise Hay. All right, so that she actually came up with this when what people have actually said what they had felt when things like this happened. Yeah, interesting, huh? When how emotions can manifest into pain, and we can take charge of it, right? So it's important that we take charge of it. When you pay attention to the feelings, and then you will see what actually is going on and all that. Okay, now how to manage emotions? All right, how to manage emotions? There are many ways to manage emotions. These are some of the few ways. Everyone also have ways to manage. Like yesterday, I was lining up to buy something, and there was a elderly lady in the queue, and we suddenly had a very good conversation. We ended up talking because the queue was long, so we just made friends and on the spot, and then we were like, talking, and she was sharing. Yeah, and then how happy she is to spend her time with her grandchildren, and she's got five blessed grandchildren and all that. So it's very nice to hear her talking, and so it was so you can actually spend time with grandchildren. It's her way of like getting managing her emotions and being happy and all that. Everybody has different ways, yeah. So one way is to exercise, right? Exercise is something very important because it creates hormones, good hormones, right? Happy hormones like oxytocin, and then it helps with your dopamine, serotonin, all these hormones that are given out when you exercise, right? So it's a kind of the kind of hormones that is in the part of the brain that actually sends out when one is involved in physical activities such as walking, those people who like jogging, or even swimming, which is lighter on the body, right? Not too much of a toll in the body. So swimming is good. Doing tai chi or qigong helps to reduce pent up energy and reduce tension, right? So exercise, any form, chair yoga, bed yoga, dance yoga, any yoga is also good, right? So something that your body is moving, and in this movement it triggers the part of the brain that actually helps you to feel at ease, right? So going outdoor activities, spending time in nature, um, just sitting outdoors and looking at the trees swaying and the birds flying or the birds chirping. Sometimes you can hear different sounds of the birds and all that. Just go out, just and you can see that it will uplift your mood, and that helps your lung capacity by breathing, because when you're outside it's more fresh air as well, when you are at the garden or when you are at the park and all that, or just outside, as like when you look at the trees and all that, it just helps you to uplift your mood. No matter what mood you are, when you're connecting to the nature, as you are sitting down there, you can use your wand to bless the nature, bless Mother Earth, bless all the trees, bless the clouds and winds and skies, bless the sun, anything. Or even if you do not have your wand, just bless as it is. Because remember, you are connecting to the nature and the nature is connecting to you. It's only the two of that is doing the vice versa. So it's okay to just sit there and just do. Mother Earth is a planet of divine fire. Mother Earth is the purity God desires. All the nature beings of the trees are beings of divine fire. All the nature beings of the trees are the purity God desires. All the clouds, winds, and skies are the beings of divine fire. All the nature beings of the clouds, winds, and skies are the purity God desires. Anything, whatever that comes to your mind, just bless the nature. Just be connected to it. And now after a while you feel that you feel so much greater, so much happier, you know. So these are things that we ourselves can manage it without doing any aggressive mode of exercise. Of course, the younger people would like to sweat it out and all that. That's fine. Some people like to do gardening. That's great, right? Do anything that makes you feel happy, that will make you feel less unwanted, bottled up emotions are not there, right? So that's, and the other one is balanced diet. Very important. You cannot avoid food. Food is something that makes us. The right food will give us the right nutrition for our body. The right food will also help our organs to manage as well. So avoid excessive sugar and processed food, right? My friend, one of my colleagues just came back from India. So we all very, very scared because she brought for us that very sweet, the sweet, something she called it. Then we all looked at her. Is it very sweet? Then she said, no, 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 it's not sweet at all. See, okay. But she insisted that we all take one lah. So we took. So I waited for my Chinese colleagues too, because it's good to see their trigger first. So they all put in their mouth. They all say, oh no, they went to heaven and they came back. So that means it's way too sweet, right? So, but you see, again, the tolerance level of sweetness, it's also depends on individual taste buds, right? So the colleague who gave us, of course, she's very kind lah, because she came and then she wanted to share her, the goodies with us. So we were thankful, yeah. So we took a little bit, and then after that we started passing it to other people as well, because it's way, way too sweet, and which we are not used to that much of sweet, also, right? So again, excessive sugar is not good. Processed food is also bad. Hot dog, cheese, all these are, sausages, all these, like, even cereals. Some cereals, even though they say, wow, it's made of wheat, very healthy, look at the box itself. Like, what actually goes through in it. It's very important that, what kind of sugar they have, refined sugar or natural sugar, or what they have gone through. So sometimes, even though it's convenience, we just buy and we just feed our children or ourselves. But sometimes all these unwanted wrong diet or wrong food can trigger off the way we process things, the way our brain works, right? So, drinking plenty of water to support the kidney function. Again, water is water, yeah? Water is very important. It cleanses the body. The amount of water, it depends on individual again. Doesn't mean that everyone needs to drink 6 liters of water or something like that, right? Because everybody's way of function of the kidneys and the urinary bladder is all different, right? Some may need to go toilet very frequently, so they may need to replenish with water. Some may not go toilet so much, so they don't have to drink that much of water. Again, it depends on individual body. So we have to understand our own body and how it functions, right? What may be good for one may not be good for the other person, which is very important. So balanced diet doesn't mean all the time you must eat salad, correct? Because some salad are good, but some salad can trigger off something for some other person. I remember one of my friend, I don't want to mention her friend, the friend's name, but the friend said that when she eats cucumber, it's toxic for her. But when I eat cucumber, it's perfect for me, right? I love cucumber because some nights I just want to eat, I just eat cucumber because it's so hot or it's just it's so refreshing. And it's so full of fiber and water, so it fills my stomach. So I'm fine, right? But for the same person who may eat the cucumber, it may not be good for that person. Just like dal, right? I think 2 weeks ago, my boy had severe diarrhea, and then I realized what triggered off because this same diarrhea and vomiting started when he was younger, when he took dal. So I realized that maybe dal is toxic for him, even though for other people it might be healthy protein, but for him it's definitely a no because I thought maybe he outgrew, so I gave him some dal in his food, and then our friend had his diarrhea. He went for was continuously going, and the vomiting as well. So then we had to like get him to read his affirmation. Of course, we brought him to the doctor, got his medication, and then started healing and all that. Then found out that it is the dal that actually affected. Of course, not dal, not just the dal alone. Also got cots from my mother-in-law. So of course he had to read for that as well. Then so everything triggers off. See, that's why it's the beauty of PVH is immediately we can take the basic step. Read forgiveness affirmation because we do not know whether any cord is coming right. So good. Step 1 done. Step 2, go and find out what actually triggered off. And then the other thing is we have a powerful wand to heal and get better. Of course, never avoid going to the doctor because you need to get the right diagnosis and you need to take the correct medication to make yourself become better, right? Some people will be messaging us or in the group saying that the grandchild or the person is having severe and then haven't seen a doctor. We also get scared because sometimes you get dehydrated. When you get dehydrated, then you have to be, and in the hospital they have to actually put the drips and all that. And then you do not want to get to that stage because hydration is so important. When a person is losing too much of water, diarrhea or vomiting, you also lose a lot of electrolytes. And if electrolytes are lost in the body, you need to quickly replenish if not you feel lightheaded and giddy and all that. So it's important that we understand our body in order to know how it should function. Don't wait and say, no, I'm still healing. You can't be, if you're so sick, you also cannot be healing, isn't it? Unless someone is helping you. So it's very important to first see the doctor. So always say, see doctor first. Okay, find out what is the cause, what is the diagnosis. Then after that, we heal with the right protocol, right? Without knowing we might be healing the wrong things because your description could not match the what you are going through. So your description could be something, but the thing was in the causing the trigger could be something else. So we could be all healing the wrong thing, and then after that, not getting it right. Right. So it's important to always get the diagnosis first, and then immediately start with the healing and all that. Okay. And of course, please sleep. Body heals by itself. The amount of sleep that you after taking medication, after healing, please sleep. The more you sleep, the better it is. When your body is resting, you heal faster, right? So that's very important. Okay, any questions about that? Yeah, fine, good. Okay, now did you know that emotions can impact our physical health, which you already know now, right? What are the organs that you can have impact on and all that. So each part of our body can hold on to specific emotion, which we saw earlier, right? When we are fearful, it affects the kidney. When we worry or overthink, our spleen is affected. When we are too sad and grieving, your lungs are affected. And overjoy or too much of sadness also affects the heart, right? Or anger. So heart is something that multiple emotions can affect it because it causes palpitation. When someone is very angry, you can see the blood rising like that. The face becomes so red and all that, right? So anger, it affects the liver as well. So a lot of our parts of the organ, which are very important parts of our organ, can get affected because of certain emotions or specific emotions that hold on to each part of the body and organ. From anger stored in the liver to sadness in the lungs, our emotions can affect us more than how we can realize, isn't it? Right? So we need to know how to let go of this, how to release them, so that we can also look after our own organs, which is working so hard for us. Right? Okay. How do we train the brain? Okay. Now, if you, even before we even look at this, right? When we looked at here, right, how to manage your emotions. Sometimes some people can recognize the emotions. People cannot recognize. Is somebody want to say something? Gayatri? Yes, Gayatri, you want to say something? No? Sorry. Okay, so our body stores emotions and we all feel different types of emotions at different times in our lives. That one we have to understand, right? Every one of us process emotion differently. Okay, one may get triggered off with something with to be angry, but one person might take it lightly. Again, it depends on individual. Some of us process those emotions and let them out, but some suppress those emotions. So, well, our body does exactly what our mind does, right? If we keep suppressing our emotions, it gets stored in various part of our body. As a result, our health get physically and mentally also can start declining. Okay, important point to note, yeah. Okay, different people process emotions differently. When we let them out, it's better. So if people do not know how to let them out, journal it down. What made you angry? What was the trigger? What caused you to react that way? Okay, process it. When you journal it down, it helps you to break the, you can see at that point when you're angry, when you're journaling it down, everything will just flow out. Let it be. Let it all flow out, right? Then yeah, then you feel after that a bit lighter. It's like telling someone the problem. But sometimes when you tell people the problem, they can't tell everybody the problem. Then it becomes another problem, isn't it? Right? So journaling is quite good, yeah. And of course, speaking to our ward is also wonderful. But journaling it down, you can always go back to it and refer to it and see, oh yeah, this has happened. And when you're much more calmer, when you look at it, you can also laugh about it. Like, hey, why I got angry over this thing, huh? And that's when the brain is processing it. And then it doesn't keep it into the core memory where it becomes strong and keep on, focusing on that in multiple times. Okay, so that's one way. So our body will do exactly what our mind does, right? And if we suppress our emotions, it stores them in different parts of the body, and as a result, this will cause us our health to physically and mentally deteriorate or to start declining. Okay, so are you storing your issues in your tissues? Good to think about, yeah, right? So it's good to process some things. It's kind of heavy, yeah. I think it takes time to sort of like digest and to see how to manage it. It's not something you can work overnight, but it's good to explore different ways how you can actually manage it, right? So it's like sometimes, when um, you look at um, like, okay, maybe I just an example, like you like window shopping. For an example, right? You like window shopping. Every time you go and then you do window shopping, and then you like it and all that, right? So because it helps you to like, you don't buy anything, but it helps you to, some people de-stress by window shopping. Some people like cars and they like to go car shopping, right? Not that they want to buy the car, but they'll go to different car showrooms and they explore. They look at the car showrooms and they see, wow, this car is nice. The car showrooms and they see, wow, this car is nice. Look at the engine, especially guys, right? They love to do that. I remember when I first got married to my husband, he always would bring me to showrooms only. I also will be looking, I mean, I'm okay. As long as somebody drives me, I'm fine, right? I'm not totally fascinated by cars, but now I am because my boy is also very much loves cars, just like the father. So so he will be always be talking about this car, that car. So and sometimes he designs. He will go for car meets and all that. So he will take different photos and all that. Then he will put it in such a nice way. Sometimes I also like, wow, this is so impressive. Looks like a cover page for a magazine or something. So I will also tell him, wow, nice, looks very good. And all that. So just to keep, to understand, so that I can actually connect to my boy as well. So then interest in cars. But you see, like people like to see the cars because sometimes maybe the way the features of the car or the way it looks um or the way maybe the color or certain models of the car, the way um the speed or whatever, that people like. But you see, if we are the passengers, right, we can do whatever we like, isn't it? Because somebody is driving the car, we just sit in and then we just watch the scenery, talk to the person, because we're not focusing on anything, because we're just enjoying the ride. Correct? We can even go to sleep when we are actually in a car because somebody else is driving. If you're in the grab, somebody is driving, so you can just afford to switch off, right? But imagine you are doing the driving. Imagine you are driving the car. Can you afford to be distracted? Cannot, right? Because if you're distracted, it's going to cause an accident to happen, right? So in life is also the same, right? So if we are in the passenger seat, we can easily get distracted by our problems and challenges, and then always think, "Are you? Why must this happen to me? Why is it like this? All this, right? Unnecessary thoughts." And then we are very good at playing, or replaying in our mind many times when we are idle, when we have nothing to occupy our mind, when we are not busy. We keep replaying what has happened, making it look magnifying that problem from a small issue, making it look very big issue because we keep on replaying in our mind. Okay, but if we want to stay focused and we want to be peaceful and be happy, right? And we want to just reach the point of destination and just move on, right? Go to the next mode of our life and all that. It's good to be the driver's seat because the driver has to be constantly focused, right? And have to be alert and have to keep on moving. You cannot be staying in the same destination or same place for a long time. You have to move, right? If it's a Grab driver, he has to move from one place to another place. So, just like us, something has happened, an emotion was created, but we don't have to keep on replaying in our head. We can learn to move on, right? And the way to move on is to blaze and burn away unwanted emotions, read the affirmations, take charge of your mind, your feelings, your emotion, stop all these negative mind chatters, right? And then, face the challenges, whatever, and to lead a life that is joyful and meaningful. Yeah, which is important. Don't replay. I mean, you are the creator of your own future, man, right? And you are the creator of your own happiness. Don't let someone take charge of it. Don't let someone else manage your, trigger your emotions, right? If the same person is always causing it, move away from the person, move away from that situation, move away from that friend, whatever. So remember, you are in charge. It's important because life is short, right? Right? Life is short. Can we afford to wake up tomorrow with regret, right? So we cannot, right? So can we afford to carry our grudges in our heart all the way, like carrying it? We will be the one carrying all the baggages, unwanted baggages, not only in this lifetime, also to the next lifetime. It is very important to let go and manage emotions. Okay, some feelings for some people in our heart becomes negative. Yeah, sometimes unavoidable, but we have a choice. Okay, we may not have them with us tomorrow. So something that would have happened, but we may not have them tomorrow. So it's good to just let go. If we did something wrong, we apologize. No need to have the ego into it. Sometimes when we say sorry, it does good for both. it helps, right? And then carry on with life, right? It's important to move on. Yeah. Some people may not look at it the same way, but it's not worth it sometimes if you look at it. Right? How do I train the brain to see things positively? Take time to acknowledge the good things in our lives, right? You know, we have many things that are good in our life, but we always want to choose to see things that we don't have or see things that are negative in our life, right? It is how the brain works as well, and how we help the brain to work in that manner too. So it's good to take time to acknowledge and appreciate and show gratitude to what good things we have in our life. Be grateful for your family, right? So be grateful for a job that you have, something that brings you, gives you a salary to put food on the table, a roof over your head. Just be grateful, right? It might not be an expected salary, but something is coming better than nothing, right? So it's good to be thankful and all that. That's why we play the gratitude song in the morning, right? It's good to be thankful for everything that we have. You know, some people will appreciate family, and some people may not. Some people have family with around them. Like yesterday, the lady that I was talking to, it was so lovely to hear her. You know, and I was also learned a lot of things. She's in her late 80s, and she was saying that she's got three children, and they every week they make it a point. The three children will take turns whose house it will be, and all the five grandchildren plus all their children and the son-in-laws all will come together. She's got three daughters. All the son-in-law, all of them will come together in one person's house. So this week it is in another daughter's house because she's a doctor. So she has to go. She's got night shifts today. So they're all gathering in her house. So next week will be in someone else's house, another daughter's house, and then after another daughter's house, then back to the grandparents' house and all that. So, but weekly they all meet together and they spend time together. And when they go to holiday, they go holidays together. Isn't she so blessed? Right? So blessed, isn't it? Right? It's so nice to hear that also. Like they make an effort to come together to share and all that. And the children love grandparents, of course. All grandchildren will love the grandparents, right? But not everyone is lucky, isn't it? Not everyone has got nice grandparents, right? So you see, so there's something to be grateful for in every situation, in everything in our lives, right? Doing so will also put us in a positive frame of mind. Instead of focusing on negative, something that you don't have, but you focus on something that you have, right? A regular practice of saying and writing down three things you're grateful for each day. That's why journaling helps. Journaling is not only writing down all your negative thoughts and all that, but those days you feel grateful. Like, wow, you're grateful that you met your secondary friends. Or I'm grateful to, meeting someone and who helped you or look at things differently or help you to do something or, whatever. Or you did something for someone or whatever. Writing it down, three things, that's you can write, of course, more than three things, but something that you're grateful for, a regular practice will actually help you to look at things in a different perspective. Instead of focusing on negative, you tend to focus on the positive as well. Train yourself to look for things that make you happy. See, you can't depend on other people to make us happy, right? We are the creator of the happiness. So, simple thing going out and looking at the sky. I love clouds. So whenever I don't know, I just always look at the clouds. So I think my friends who always see my profile pictures, so I will always be changing all the clouds. So, but I just love them. When I leave the school, I look up first. Oh, when I'm going to class, I look up. Then I quickly take a picture of the clouds, whatever that I just put into my the profile status or whatever, because I just love clouds. Sometimes different clouds, different ways. It's just beautiful. It makes me happy, right? So everybody has different things that make you happy. But I cannot be looking at, oh, is someone going to bring me out? Is someone going to buy me something? Yeah, all these extrinsic, yeah, like external, but intrinsically you have to make happiness within, create happiness from within that makes you feel happy, and that's important, right? So yeah. And how do I train my brain to stop being negative? Very important these days. Not only people, right? A lot of children, young children, they always look at negative things negatively. So it's important how they look, because sometimes they look at other people's social media and think like, wow, the person's having a better life, man, and all that. But you see, when we keep on comparing, we do not know the person in the social media is posting uh, their part the truthful part also, right? They could also be going through a miserable life. But they just only put the positive or nice things about themselves. So everybody is looking at the nice thing, not looking at what they may be going through. So you look at their positive and you feel miserable. It's not even worth it, right? So it's important to train the brain to stop being negative because it doesn't help at all. Okay, being negative also affects unwanted emotions and triggers off unwanted effects on your organs as well, right? And how do we train our brain? Be mindful. Whenever a negative thought comes in, quickly try to push it away. Throw it out of your system immediately, right? Because look at something else to distract yourself, right? After a while, you become so good at it that you won't even have time to look at negative. In the beginning, it may be challenging, but after a while, it gets easy. It becomes easier, right? So be aware of negative thoughts without judgment also, right? Sometimes, we tend to be more judgmental, right? So it's good to not pass any judgment in the beginning because everyone is going through their own, battles. So it's good to be, just be kind and compassionate. Okay, challenge thoughts. Question their validity and consider alternatives. Okay, challenge your thoughts. Is this valid? Is this important for me? Is this going to help me in any way? If it's not, then why think about it? Why bother giving time to waste your energy and drain yourself on those things that are not important or it's not going to help you to move up or anywhere or do anything, right? So positive affirmations helps to replace negativity with positive statements. So you can create your own positive, and affirm it yourself. But we have a beautiful PVH affirmations which is programmed and is powerful. You can start by reading that, and then after that start affirming with your EFH, emotional freedom healing, and all that. So make to strengthen our own self, right? Gratitude. Focus on what you're thankful for. Okay, don't always keep on counting problems. There are people out there even worse. We must be thankful we are in a safe country. At least we have a safe home that we can come to. There are people, out there who may not know what is going to happen tonight or tomorrow even, right? Living in such uncertainty, shouldn't we be very grateful that whatever that we have? We may not have much, but we can be thankful for what we have, right? So positive environment, surround yourself with supportive people. Be with people who are kind. Be with people who are nice. Be with people with who will empathize and be nice to you. Don't be with people always who are very quick to criticize for everything. These kind of people you should avoid if you are fragile, right? Because the thing is, it doesn't help. I'm not saying criticism is bad. Constructive criticism is very good, right? I would like people to tell me what I did wrong and things like that because so I can better myself. But if someone is fragile, it's good not to be around very critical people, like people who are very, able to criticize quickly and without thinking and all that. So then it will affect your morale and your self-esteem, which is not good, right? So it's again within ourselves, whatever that we do. Okay.
Whether it's tears falling down our cheeks or a burst of laughter, our emotions often evoke a physical response. You've probably experienced that wave of nausea before walking into a nerve-wracking interview, or a jolt of excitement before opening a Christmas present. But the quick flashes of emotion that we feel in our bodies in the spur of the moment are only a small part of how emotions impact our physical health. You may not realize it, but our emotions can affect our decision-making at the moment, which can have a knock-on effect on our physical health. But just how deeply are our mind and body connected? How much does one affect the other? Our bodies respond to our emotional health in many ways. Let's have a look at what might happen when our mental health is in poor shape. When we're feeling worried or sad, our body's pH levels begin fluctuating. This can incite a physical response such as constipation, stomach ulcers, and sometimes insomnia or high blood pressure. Being constantly unhappy or stressed can also impact our immune system, which is why we seem to get more coughs and colds around exam time, or why we take longer to shake off infections when things are busy at work. And of course, if we're feeling moody or nervous, we're more likely to skip physical activities that are good for our body. And instead, those pesky temptations become harder to ignore. So we might reach for the ice cream or an extra glass of wine. And if we're really unhappy, we've no idea what to do. We may even resort to liquor, tobacco, or other drugs, which is usually a recipe for disaster. Trying to choke back the tears takes a lot of energy, leaving you feeling drained, burdened, and even achy or sore. Anxiety causes a constant cloud of unease, fear, or worry, which makes our bodies release a steady flow of adrenaline, a chemical normally intended for quick reactions. Adrenaline generally leaves you jumpy, unable to relax, sweaty, or even become frozen, unable to take action. You might have trouble sleeping, even if you're tired, and you might even need to use the toilet more frequently. Anger is another adrenaline-releasing emotion. That's why when angry, your muscles tense and your breathing speeds up. Without being expressed, adrenaline causes long-term tension. If it's not released, you could end up exploding in a rage or smaller, unpredictable outbursts. These fits of emotion can put you at a greater risk of a heart attack, so make sure to express your anger in a healthy way, which can range from writing down your emotions in a journal to hitting a punching bag at the gym. Experiencing constant anger can also restrict your breathing, which makes you prone to respiratory problems. Other emotions we should take into account are shame and guilt. These often result in a feeling of butterflies or weight in the stomach. That's not too bad, but if we keep it up for long enough, it can turn into nausea and ongoing stomach problems. It's not all bad news though. There are also long-term physical benefits associated with emotional impact too. When feeling happy, your heart rate and breathing can improve. And most important of all, it causes the brain to release more endorphins and dopamine, our happiness chemicals. Falling in love not only makes you feel relaxed and content, but surprisingly, it's also thought to boost the growth of new brain cells, which helps improve our memory. While having too much adrenaline in our body can be quite damaging, short bursts of it can actually be a good thing. A little dose of adrenaline can momentarily heighten the senses, improve breathing, boost the immune system, and null pain. This is why some people enjoy fear-provoking activities like extreme sports, haunted houses, or scary movies. The natural high produced by that quick adrenaline hit not only feels fantastic, but it can also leave you with a sense of confidence. As we have seen, emotions have a big role in our physical health. The elements we've talked about can be helpful signals that something isn't quite right with our emotional health. If we start listening to our bodies, we can start taking action to improve our mental well-being. On your next visit to the doctor, make sure to talk about your physical symptoms and any feelings or problems you may be experiencing in your life. You might not be used to talking about these things, but it's important you do so that your doctor can take them into consideration when deciding the best course of action for you. A healthy mind promotes a healthy body. We hope you found this video enlightening.
If we look at our forgiveness here, right? So, we always talk about in our affirmations forgiveness, and forgiveness actually helps to release emotions. So, if you look at it, forgiveness is a powerful way to release negative emotions like anger, resentment, and hurt, right? So these emotions can weigh us down, just like carrying heavy stones in our hearts and causing stress and discomfort in our bodies, and our soul, even, right? Holding on to these feelings over time can block our healing and happiness. So some people can be saying that, oh yeah, keep on healing. That's not working, because the emotions are trapped or deep-rooted. You need to go to the root cause of that emotion, have an EFH, emotional freedom healing, to throw it out so that you accept it, that whatever that is caused the trigger, and then that leads on to getting an over and done with, slowly out of your system. Okay, by not addressing it right and avoiding it, it's not going to help also. So that's why is forgiveness so important? So forgiveness is important for our emotional well-being, also helps us to restore relationships and friendships and all that, and personal growth. By choosing to forgive, right, we create space for healing. And then this helps us to make connections and for our own personal empowerment. Most of the time we think we are forgiving for the other person, but it's actually we are helping ourselves because it helps to free us. And we become more joyful because it's like a big load out of your mind and out of your body and all that. So it's thrown away, right? So forgiveness sets you free. So when we forgive, we set ourselves free. And forgiveness isn't about excusing others or ignoring our pain, but it's about letting go of the past, which no longer controls us in any way to make us emotional. It's a way of freeing our hearts and minds and creating space for, new form of relationship, new peace, new love, new joy to flow in. Okay, until we have let go, then the space cannot be created for the new things to take place. Right? So forgiveness allows us to heal, not just for others, but for ourselves. So by letting go of the grudges, we release the negative energy that traps us, making room for light and love to fill our beings. So this healing process helps us align with our true higher selves and help us to live a more peaceful and purposeful life. I remember one of my colleagues when we were going home, she was telling me, we were talking about helpers. So a few years ago when she had helper, of course it was helpful sometimes, but then sometimes you have other issues and problems to manage when the helper is not on the right track with you, or. So then, and she was saying that it came to a point that she decided no more helper for the children. She will take, it's okay if the house is messy, it's okay if the dishes are not done that day, she can do it the next day. So she decided this is it, and that helped her to load off the unwanted stress from her, because most of the time we are very concerned about, the house is messy, what will people say, what will people think, oh, must do this, must do that, and it becomes an extra toll on your health and your body and your productivity. I'm not saying keep the house messy, right? But the thing is, you know how to manage. I mean, if you do not have the time to clean that particular day, or that few days, it's okay. You still can get back to doing what you need to do. But if you are overly stressed and this is affecting you, and you become sick, then there's a lot more issues to address too than to just look at a messy house. Don't you agree? Yeah. So it's important to have certain things, the outlook of things. The house will be there, the mess is there because you have kids. You can come back and do the cleaning up. You don't have to kill yourself and stay up the whole night because next day you have work, and you don't have to kill yourself clean until that you don't have enough rest and go to the work next day, and have a grouchy day or a bad day, that sort of thing. Okay, so sometimes certain things, it's good to work out with the spouses. The spouses have to understand, right? Of course, like messiness. It takes it takes the people in the house to clean up, not just the one person who has to manage the whole thing. Okay, the spouse, the children, everyone give them a duty, and then get them to all join in to get things done. Okay, so it doesn't take a toll on just a person themselves. All right. Now, you cannot see your reflections in a boiling water. When the water is boiling, you can't see your own reflection because you only see bubbles, right? So similarly, you can't see the truth in a state of anger. When the water is calm, clarity comes, right? So it's very important that we know that sometimes certain things, when we are very angry, it's good to move away and take a breather and go for a walk or something, and then come back to it and see. When your mind is calmer, you can see and maybe even come up with solutions much better than when you are in a state of angry. When you cannot think straight, you will be just spilling out words that will cause cracks that cannot be mended later on. So sometimes pushing the silence button is important instead of throwing everything that comes to the mind or mouth out. Yeah. So now, so where emotions are stored in the body, as we have seen earlier, the most important part, when you are angry and you're resenting something, it affects the liver. Okay, a recap of this whole thing. Yeah, the heart, excitement, and even shock. Right. I remember on April Fool's Day, one of my naughty colleague go and throw a cockroach, a fake cockroach, okay, a plastic cockroach, at another colleague. But another person was walking and she screamed so loud, we all got a shock, like, huh, because we didn't see actually what happened. But when she screamed, then we all understood that this naughty teacher go and throw, me naughty colleague go and throw a cockroach at me naughty colleague go and throw a cockroach at the other lady to trigger another one, but another one got. We were like so scared because her heart was beating so fast. We thought she had heart attack. So sometimes too much of a shock can trigger off some things in your body as well. Okay, so kidneys, fear or insecurity, right? So it's important. Kidneys are so important. So we have to be always be mindful. Spleen, okay, worrying, obsessive thinking, overthinking, all this affects our spleen. Lungs, grief, sadness, and all that. It affects. So it also brings the immunity down, and we need immunity because it is what keeps us going. Right? Our body has to be healthy and all. Right? So this was what we did. We showed this last week. I just put it here as well. So we take charge of our health with PVH, right? By changing our food and diet, exercise, go out for a walk, do chair yoga, light exercise, walks, all these will help. Read forgiveness, affirmation, balancing our karma, accept it, whatever that we are going through is part of the karma balancing, right? So accept it, and then things will start changing for the better. Okay, sit for Sunday blessings, of course. Yes, brother, you want to say something? Oh, okay.
Sorry, teacher. My mic was on.
No problem. It's okay. Okay, then following spiritual hygiene, very important, right? Because sometimes, when we too many things, then our mind gets confused. And sometimes it also, goes the wrong directions as well. So following properly spiritual hygiene is important as well. Right? Understanding and managing our emotions are very important because this is our body and we know our own emotions better than anyone else. So we can learn to take charge and manage it. Do not suppress it. Let it out, but in a positive manner that where you can actually learn. So one way is journaling, the other way is talking to someone, and all that, or just going out in the nature and just doing something that will actually help. Okay, but do not suppress it because it becomes toxic when it keeps on getting piled up. Then it becomes toxic, and eventually, as what the video showed, right, explode. Take charge of your life, change your lifestyle. Self-care is very important. If we don't care for ourselves, then who is going to love us, right? So self-care, self-love is very important, right? We all have families, but we cannot expect our families to love us all the time because everyone is going through their own, work challenges and all that. So we have to have our own self-care and self-love so that we can also be a support system when they come to us. Okay, when we don't have enough to offer, then how are we going to help anybody? Right? So it's important to take care of ourselves. It's not selfish to take care of ourselves. When we take care of ourselves, we can give more in return. Okay, read spiritual affirmations. I am light, Mother Earth, Divine Fire. All these will help us to strengthen our aura and ourselves as well. Yeah. And of course, like what we already mentioned earlier, forgiveness affirmation, spiritual affirmations, ladies affirmations, place away and burn away unwanted emotions as and when. Daily is good if people are very highly emotional. Emotional freedom healing, sometimes it can be tailor-made, or you can write one for your own. Find the root cause that is triggering whatever that is happening all the time. So find the root cause, right? And then doing it will help greatly. Yeah. Of course, then we also have this. Sir has told us this before during one of the bed yoga in 2022, right? If someone who's extremely emotional, okay, astral body aura cleansing is very, very important because the thing is, yeah, we do aura cleansing with our wand for our energy body, astral body, mental body, right? The new programming, right? The thing is, with the triple wand, you do all the three bodies together in one go. Now, with the astral body, if one is very deeply emotional, and it's good to go to the burn and blaze away and that aura cleansing part of the astral body because it helps the person a lot more. So I remember this was by Kalpana. She actually transcribed this, right? So healing wand become as powerful as required to remove all the negative energy, all the negative thought forms, all the negative energy that is stuck with me in my astral body. Then do aura cleansing. from the top left all the way to the right, right? When it's like you're painting the wall must always face the person, and do aura cleansing. Okay, and do several times, not just once. So top to bottom, and then bottom to top, and then top to bottom, and bottom to top, and top to bottom, and bottom to top. You can do several times. If you think the person whom you're doing for aura cleansing or for yourself or whatever, that you think you need more time to clean the astral body and do the aura cleansing, do so. There's no a time, like number of times you need to do. You can do as long as you want until you feel okay, I feel now better. Okay, then you take the wand and then do healing wand, become as powerful as required to blaze away and burn away all the negative entities, emotional entities, any negative thought forms that is causing all the emotions in me, in my emotional body. Okay, and then you put your wand on the right hand side, blaze away and burn away. You will circle the wand. Okay, 3 times, 3 sets of 3. Keep on doing, blaze away and burn away all the thought forms, all the negative energies, the entities that are causing all the emotions, unnecessary emotions in my body, in my physical body, in my energy body, in my astral body. Right? You can even say related to what, and then keep burning and blazing away. If someone who's highly emotional, they are crying and all that, so you can do that. Keep on doing. Ask the person to do. Okay, to do the burn and blaze away. Okay, as you are. Also, you can help them to burn and blaze away on their behalf. Together, it's better. You doing alone for that person sometimes is only 50%, right? But when you do together, it's really amazing, right? So healing won't become as powerful as required to blaze away and burn away all the negative emotions I have in my physical body, in my energy body, in my astral body, and mental body. Blaze away and burn away all the thought forms that's causing all the emotions that I have within myself. Blaze away and burn away. Okay? Then after that, you will say, no, I'm not this physical body, I am that I am. I'm not this wrong emotion, I am that I am. I'm not this wrong thought form, I am that I am. Say all that, and then do divine fire for yourself. And then after that, observe how the person is feeling and all that. Okay, and then of course, thank the one, healing one, thank you, God, thank you, and observe. If this person who is very emotional, if you need to do like every 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever, do so until they feel that the emotions are really like bare minimum, like totally the one is also feeling light and all that. Then you know that okay, because some people are more emotional than others, and sometimes they need to go to this part of it because just superficially burning and blazing away may not be sufficient for them. So it's good to go to the astral body aura cleansing, and then burning and blazing away from the aura cleansing from there itself, from the astral body itself. So this is what Sir told us during the Big Yoga 2022. The video is in the YouTube. Yeah, so you can actually go there and also have a look at it. All right, the last one that Sir actually sent from Spain, right? A lady who was having constant headache because of emotions, right? So this was an EFH. Sir did on the spot for the lady. So someone who's having emotions, like she just has this emotions around with people. So if anyone has got that, you can follow this EFH and then modify it to your own needs that you need, and you can add on what you need as well, right? So hold your wand in front of your ajna and say, I have this issue with people around. My body feels differently. I don't know why. It may be the energy of people around me. A lot of people around me. So maybe this person is just affected by a lot of people, right? The energy, right? Everybody's energy is different, which is so true, right? I'm deeply, completely, and consciously accepting myself. That's the magic word, right? This one goes deep into the subconscious mind. And this is the part that is the magic word for the emotional freedom healing. I'm deeply, completely, and consciously accepting myself. People have different emotions. Some can be sad, some can be angry, and some have anxiety, and some have many things I do not understand. Some will be smokers, some with alcohol issues, or anything. I'm deeply, completely, and consciously accepting myself. I cannot control this world. I cannot be in a clean environment. What can I do? So this person who was actually doing this is very sensitive to people's energy around. So that's why Sir put that in there. I'm deeply, completely, and consciously accepting myself. God, give me the strength to my soul to overcome this. I'm a being of divine fire. I'm the purity God desires. My soul is a soul of divine fire. My soul is the purity God desires. God, thank you, thank you, thank you. Transcribed by Kalpana. Right? So you see, there's a lot in the YouTube based on for emotions and because all these unwanted emotions, especially for women, it goes into the fragile organs, which is the breast, the uterus, the ovaries, and all that. So if you do not know how to release them or throw them out of the system, it affects these parts of the fragile organs. That's where people have breast cancer, cyst in the uterus or in the ovaries or endometrious wall. All these are actually emotion based and all that. And it's up to us how we manage as well. Okay, so it's important. If you need to cry, go to toilet and just let it out. Okay, nobody needs to know, right? Just cry it out and out of the system. You feel much lighter and better once you've cried it out, right? You don't have to shout and scream and wait. But if you need to and nobody's in the house, why not? Just do it. Do what that can actually throw this whole thing out of your system. Do not suppress it. Do not bottle it up because it's not going to help in any way. Letting it out in a positive way, right? Throwing it out of your system, okay? It's good. Yeah. Here, there's also another way to heal our brains and the cells. Okay, so shared during the 2022 the big yoga as well. Okay, so healing wand become as powerful as required to heal the brain area that produces all the required hormones for my physical body to function well, right? Because our brains produces a lot of hormones, right? There's about like oxytocin, so many. Even these are the names we have known to, but there are other hormones that are produced by the brain which we don't even know. So it's good to say that all produces the area that produces all the required hormones. So let the wand heal the part that requires the physical body to heal, the part of the brain that helps the physical body to function well and all that. So let the wand do, because the wand is very smart. The wand will know exactly what energy is needed and how much is needed and all that. Okay, heal all the cells, the part of the brain that is giving me all the right hormones to do all the work for my cells and my body. Remember, we are 54 trillion cells. Okay, and we were formed in one cell in our mother's womb. From that one cell, we have become 54 trillion cells. Every cell is doing something or the other for us, for our body to function, for our body to do something and all that. And it's very important that we help our organs to do so and not hinder it from functioning. Okay, so it's important that we know how to. We know that now that what are the organs that get affected easily with emotions, and we know how to manage because this is our organ. This is when you get angry with someone, that someone's organ is not affected. It is our organs that is affected. So it's important to take note of that. Okay, and it's not worthy to hurt your own self, right? Okay, so we talked about limbic system, which is the most important part, which is the part of our emotion center. Okay, so limbic system has a group of brain structures which involves in the memory, emotions, and behavior. So we have a powerful wand that actually we can heal these parts. And now we have three wands, right? So the triple wand can heal both two. Right? So you can heal your limbic system, your hippocampus, the amygdala, your hypothalamus, thalamus, and basal ganglia. Okay, basal ganglia we hardly speak about, but basal ganglia, I remember when Madam Mohana did on for the autistic children, it plays an important role because it's a motor control. It plays a role in rewarding the process and habit formation linked to emotions and how we feel motivated, how we feel, self motivation as well. The basal ganglia is one of them, which is part of the brain. Okay, of course, there are many other parts of the brain, but again, see, healing the limbic system and these crucial important parts itself will help to heal the other parts automatically because we have a conscious effort to heal our limbic system, and if we consciously practice forgiveness, that itself will help to produce our glial cells to clean up all the unwanted emotions and anger and all that, and create the aura of forgiveness, which helps us in managing our brain system, which helps with our emotional part of the brain as well, right? So you don't have to know many words or many parts of the brain to heal because it's just too much and massive, right? So the important parts it's good to focus on, because limbic system is our emotional brain. So the emotional brain limbic system must be healed daily, right? Because every time when you, the more you heal, the stronger your emotions are also becomes more balanced and all that. Hippocampus, very important. It's for our memory, right? So it's good to heal. Amygdala is a fear factor. It's a center for fear, right? And so when people who get triggered off easily, very fearful and all that, amygdala does a wonderful job when you heal. Hypothalamus is connected to our endocrine system. So adding on hypothalamus and thalamus, it's good itself, isn't it? So because hypothalamus has a, it also produces your hormones, and also like how the hunger, the thirst, the body temperature, it releases the hormones of from producing in the hypothalamus itself. Then thalamus is a relay station to send all the signals to your senses related to emotion, how you should be reacting and all that. So, and these are part of your pituitary gland, your endocrine system and all that. So it's good to include your hypothalamus and thalamus, right? So these are the parts that I thought were more crucial. So I listed it out for, so we can all eat and all that. Okay, now recap of the process of emotions, right? So remember, emotions are formed in the limbic system, which is our emotional center here. This is our limbic system. So limbic system is very important because that's where all our emotions are formed. So I feel that we should actually heal this. So I do heal my children the limbic system so that they don't get, sometimes healing this part of it, they are more rational in thinking as well, right? So emotions are formed in the limbic system here. Now the prefrontal cortex, which is this portion here, gets the feeling, right? That means something, a feeling is triggered. Hey, something happened and I get a feeling. Then this feeling can lead to a thought. Hey, what am I going to do now? Which leads to an action. Am I going to react this way or am I going to react what way? Right? So always remember that it's connected in somehow or other. Yeah, the emotions are formed in the limbic system, right? In your limbic system, you have your hypothalamus, your hippocampus, amygdala, thalamus, basal ganglia, all that there already. Okay, your prefrontal cortex, which is your higher order cognitive thinking, decision making, reasoning, your social behavior is all that in your prefrontal cortex, which is here. That's why we don't want children to use too much of handphones or iPads, because it damages their prefrontal cortex. And at a young age, when it gets damaged, it becomes very difficult because theirs is more, they're just forming, right? Their brains are just forming. So their prefrontal cortex is very important and all that, so that it doesn't get fried or radiated and all that. Because if you see certain videos and all that, the scientists have shown it becomes very red because too much of exposure of handphones and iPads and all that, right? So here, and then from here it gets the feeling, right? And the feeling leads to a thought, right? And the thought later on leads to an action, which is responsible for controlling and executing, like what I'm going to do now and all that. So this is how life goes, right? The kind of thing. Now, another thing that I wanted to also mention is like, inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotion. It takes much practice. It's not easy. Every one of us are human. It's natural to react, but it takes um, practice to reach here. Some may not. It's difficult to get there, but practice makes perfect, right? So as long as we know emotions impact our health, and emotions plays a massive role in the way the organs function, and if we do not take care of our emotions, it's inevitable that you develop a disease. Because you saw sadness and grief affects lungs. Constantly being sad, constantly grieving, constantly talking negative self-talk is not going to help anyway, right? Anger, unnecessarily getting anger and not able to manage your anger, it's going to hurt the liver. And then being fearful of everything and not able to manage the fear. What is the cause of fear? Go to the root cause of the problem. Again, it affects the kidney. Worry affects the spleen. So a lot of people don't realize the impact of what emotions actually does to the health and the importance of being mindful. Because without being mindful, one would be usually harboring all this unwanted or constant disease unknowingly, right? See, sometimes her father passed away, I think, just recently. So it wasn't because he died of alcohol or diabetes or high blood pressure or whatever. He actually died of loneliness, right? Because he was lonely. His wife, who was a companion, died a few months ago. So he was lonely, right? So the loneliness caused problems and also diseases. So basically, loneliness also increases 50% of dementia cases, also, right? And it's important that, um, you know, sometimes even you are in among people, you can feel lonely, right? It's a different definition of lonely and loneliness and all that. So sometimes it's good to get involved in certain activities, go and meet your friends, do things that make you happy, get out of the house, staying cooped in the house and all that can also be quite frustrating and all that. Yeah, so it's good to just get out, take a breather, go do anything that you like, involve in a little gentle sports, do social work, volunteer yourself to do things which helps, right? So again, so it's important that sometimes people who live alone, they may feel lonely. But you see, when people live in a whole house of people, also they feel lonely. No difference. It's our perception and how we look at things in a broader picture as well, right? So don't hold on to the wrong emotions, right, and clutter the mind, right? So it's important that we are on Mother Earth and we want this journey. This is our life, and want this journey to be peaceful, be happy, and so focus on the positivity, be the light, bring the light, and keep shining, right? So don't keep replaying the bad moments or negative emotions. Play the beautiful memories that you may have created or have been created, and yeah, point to note, we can all go on and on about emotions, on the effects of our health and all that, right? But remember, we are the owner of this body, right? Our soul resides in this body. The body is the temple of our soul, right? And we have a choice that we can make, and we are the master of our destiny. We're not going to let anyone run our life for us, right? So do not allow anyone to break your peace or happiness. Live the moment. Don't worry unnecessarily. What is the future going to hold? What is going to happen in the future? Then you don't live the moment. Then you lose this moment. At this point of time now is 12:54. We will not be able to receive this same 12:54 again, right? Unless you have different different countries, different time zone, you may get the same time 12:54. But if you are in Singapore and Malaysia, there's no way you're going to get back your 12:54 again, because once the time has passed, right? You're not going to get this 5th of April 12:54 again, because it's gone. It's gone means it's gone, right? So live the moment. Don't worry unnecessarily. Please speak to the powerful wand that we have. Ask for guidance. If you're lost, ask for guidance. Okay, read the affirmations. Strengthen yourself with affirmations. We have a PVH family. Everyone is so supportive and all that. So go to someone who will actually help. So all will be well. The Creator who brought us to Mother Earth will not abandon us, right? Believe to receive. The most important, believe to receive. A person in good health, right, may have many, many wishes, right? But a person in bad health, right, only has one wish, to be healthy again. And we take so many things for granted. We have good health, but we will not look after it, but we will go and, do all kinds of things when we are young and all that to spoil it, right? So it's important that we don't take things for granted. Don't take our health for granted. Okay, we have good health. We have to be grateful for that, because we can do so much things with this health that we have, right? So it's not worth, carrying someone else's baggage on yourself, right? The soul knows how to heal itself. It's the challenge is to silence the mind, right? Because keep on, self-negative talk is not going to help in any way. Sometimes it's good to ignore the self-negative talk unnecessary. After a while, it dies out. That. Yeah. And again, don't plan too much. Life has its own plan for us, right? So always remember that some of the most important or beautiful moments of our lives are actually unplanned. It just happens, and we are like, wow, this is so beautiful. We have fun, right? So it's important. Don't plan too much. Okay, remember, God has another plan. We have another plan. So don't plan too much. Let's go with the flow, and let's be happy. Okay, it's never too late to reinvent yourself. Start a new career at 40. Nothing wrong. Fall in love at 50, well, that's wonderful. Learn to dance at 60, start a whole new life at 70. Stop saying you can't, you can, and you should. Dreams don't have an expiry date. Remember that. When I was at university, I was only 20 years old, I think, when I was in Australia. So I remember this colleague, no, no, this person who was another student. She was in her 70s, I was only 20, right? So she was in her 70s, and she was coming to study, doing her bachelor, at that time. So you see, I mean, she's 70. Everybody will be like thinking, hey, she should be, at home resting or doing. But no, she decided to do something with her life, right? And enjoy the moment, live in the present. It's never too late to learn anything or to do anything. Okay, it is our life to manage, right? With that, we end today. All right, this is Search Bank account. Anyone who wish to contribute, please do so. And thank you everyone for being here.